now next topic is relative is standard deviation. As we know that center tendency, measure of center tendency with mainly three measure of tendency like mean, median and mode. As we know that mean, median and mode. So now the second is variations, that is range. We already solved quartile deviation, mean deviation and standard deviation. So in this time we discuss about the standard deviation. Standard deviation, while looking at the earlier measure of this question are of the suffer from one or other genetic, that is range, it suffer from the serious drawback, consider only two values and neglect all the other values of the series. In the quartile deviation, consider only 50% of the item and ignore the 50% item in the series form. Mean deviation, no doubt, improves the measure but ignore the negative sign without any bias. As we know that in the mean deviation, we ignore the positive and negative sign. On the other hand, basically standard deviation was first of all introduced by the Pearson in 1893. Pearson, after observing the all items, gave us a more scientific formula for calculating the measure of dispersion. Standard deviation is a part of the measure of dispersion. While calculating the SD, we take deviation from the individual observation from their AM and then the E square. The sum of the square is divided by the total number of observations. The square root of the sum is known as standard deviation. Standard deviation is the most important and widely used in the measure of dispersion, as it first were used by the Pearson in 1893. Standard deviation is also known as root mean square deviation. Standard deviation is defined as the square root of the arithmetic mean from the square of the deviation of the value taken as from the mean. Standard deviation denoted with a small Greek letter like read as sigma. As compared, standard deviation is a more useful, most important measure of standard deviation. Always calculate the arithmetic mean, median, mode is not considered. Definition, on the other hand, standard deviation is positive square root, average square root, and the arithmetic mean. So this is the formula of sigma is equal to summation x minus x bar the square divided with n whole the under. So this is the formula standard deviation. So on the other hand, some discuss about the difference between standard deviation and the mean deviation. Both these measures of dispersion are based on each and every item of the series, but they are different in some series, like first of all, algebraic sign of the deviation, positive or negative, are ignored in the mean deviation while calculating in mean deviation, whereas the calculation of standard deviation, sign of deviation are not ignored. Basically, this big difference in between, that is positive or negative sign are ignored in the mean deviation. On the other hand, standard deviation are ignored, not ignored in the this sign. They are taken into account. Mean deviation can be computed either from mean, median or mode. On the other hand, standard deviation is always computed from the mean because some of the square of the deviation taken from mean as mean. So this is a formula of standard deviation. On the other hand, this is a two method by taking deviation from the actual mean method. Basically, this is computed with the mean value. On the other hand, taking deviation from the assumed mean as is taken from the assumed value in which the mean value, that is assume the mean value in the series. So first of all, using the direct method, this is the shortcut method, and basically three methods used in the standard deviation: actual mean method, that is called direct method; assumed mean method, that is called shortcut method; and the last one, step deviation method. So first of all, this is the formula of actual mean method or direct method. Second one is shortcut method. This is the formula. And third one is standard deviation with the continuous series. So these methods solving with examples on the blackboard. So after this, first of all, we discuss the merit of the standard deviation. First of all, merit of the standard deviation, as we know that this is the helpful in most popular scientific measure of dispersion. From the standard deviation, we can calculate the skewness, correlation, and etc. Basically, these values are basically helpful in the dispersion. It is rightly defined. It is based on the all observation. Consider all the item of the series. Based on the all observation capable of being treated mathematically. For example, the standard deviation of a number of groups are known, their combined standard deviation can be computed. It is not very much affected by the fluctuation of the sampling, therefore widely used in the sampling theory test of the significance also. On the other hand, demerits of the standard deviation calculated difficult, not as easier as a range and a quartile deviation. As compared to the quartile deviation and means, it is difficult to understand, difficult to calculate. It is given more important to extreme observation. It always depends upon the arithmetic mean, AM. Extreme item gains great importance. Problem regarding this following series. Since it depends upon the unit of measure of observation, it cannot be used to compare the dispersion of the distribution expressed in the different units. So, this is the merit and demerits of the standard deviation. So, first of all, we find out the method, actual mean method and assumed mean method with the help of examples on the blackboard. So, first of all, mainly two series. Basically, regarding with this, first of all, we find out the individual series with the help of individual series. In the case of individual series, standard deviation can be computed by applying any of three methods like actual mean method and assumed mean method also. So first of all, we find out the example with actual mean method. The formula of the actual mean method is basically this is the sign of standard deviation. This is the sign of standard deviation. So summation x minus mean divided by or summation here something like also this is the formula. So both are formula of individual series in the actual mean method. Small x find with the help of x minus mean. So calculate the actual mean of the series. This is the first step of the series. On the other hand, take the deviation from the mean with x minus mean with a small x. These deviation by x. On the other hand, square the deviation to obtain the total of summation here. This one. On the other hand, divided the summation x by total number of items. So n is take the square root of it. On the other hand, first of all, we find out with the example. This is the formula. And now find out the individual series with the help of example. First one with the actual mean method. In this method, first of all, we find out the actual mean of the series. So now, example of calculate standard deviation in the following items. So first of all, x that is X series 16, 20, 18, 19, 20, again 20, 28, 17, 22 and 21. And find out the first of all mean value. As we know that the formula of mean, that is summation x over n. N is the number of observation and summation x is the total of the number of the series. Total of the number of the series, that is 200, and the number of observations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So n is the number of the observation and the summation x is the total number of observation, that is 200. Basically mean is equal to 200 divided by 10. So the answer is mean 20. So first of all, we find out the mean value and after the standard deviation. And the formula of the standard deviation, that is summation x square over x. As we know that small x, find out with x minus mean. So now let's with the value of mean, that is mean is equal to 20. Find out the value x minus mean. X minus mean. So after this 16 minus 20. On the other hand, 0, 2, 1, 0, again 0, 8, minus 3, 2 and 3. So this is the value of x minus x. This is also called small x value. This is the x series. This is the small x value. After this, we find out the square. Square the value, that is small x minus 4 multiply minus 4. That is 0 minus 4 1 0 0. 8 multiply 8. 64 9 and 4 0. And the total of the series is 90. So first of all, fill some formula. This equation fit into formula, that is as we know that mean is equal to only, and the formula of the series is 98 divided by 10. So first of all, 98 divided by 10. After the under root of 9.8, we find out the value of 3. So this is the answer. 3.13 is the, this is called actual mean method. In this method, first of all, we find out the mean value. After that, put into the standard deviation value. So on the other hand, we find out the assumed mean method. Now let's start with assumed mean method. Actual mean method is the not whole number but in this fraction. On the other hand, assumed mean method based on the also called shortcut method. When deviation are taken from the assumed mean, the formula of the assumed mean as it is standard deviation is equal to summation This is the formula of standardization in the assumed mean method. Find out the deviation with the help of x minus a. A means assumed mean. X is a x series x vector. So on the other hand, we find out, as we know that any one of item in the series taken as assumed, that is denoted with the a value. So let's start with the example. Calculate the standard deviation from 40. And the series 7, 10, 12, 13, again 13, or 15. On the other hand, 20, 21, 28, 29, and 35. This is the value. So first of all, in this we find out the assumed value in the X series. In the X series, we find out the assumed value. That is, we find out the assumed value 20. Basically, this is assumed. Any one of the item in the series as taken as the assumed mean, that is denoted with A. On the other hand, taken the deviation from the item from assumed mean with x minus A. So basically, deviation depend upon the x minus. So as we know that assumed value is 20. So first of all, x minus 7 minus 20. 7 minus 20. On the other hand, 10 minus 20. Minus 10 minus 8. 13 minus 20. Minus 7 minus 5, 0, 1, 8, 9. And the 35 minus 20, that is 15. And the total of the value is minus 10. So on the other hand, we find out the square of deviation. Square of the deviation means minus 13 multiplied with minus 13, that is 169. On the other hand, minus 10 multiplied with minus 10, that is 100, because minus minus plus. So after this, minus 8 multiplied with minus 8, that is 64, 49, 25, 0, 1, 8 multiply 8, 64, 81, 15 multiply 15 is 225. And the total of the deviations here is 778. This is the value. So after this, we put this values in the formula. In this formula, as we know that the value of summation b square. So summation b square, the value of, that is 778. So n is the number of observations. And the total number of observation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is n minus summation d square. Summation d square with the value. This is the summation d square, and now we find out the only summation d. Summation d. This is a deviation minus 10. And the n is the number of observation is 10. Basically, we put this value into the formula. This is a 778 is a summation d square value, and the n is the number of observation. On the other hand, summation d value, that is minus 10, and the n is the number of observation is 10 whole square and a whole under root of this value. On the other hand, divided with the both values, 7.8 minus 1. This is the 76.8. After the under root of 76.8, we find out the value of 8.76. So basically, this is the assumed mean method in the discrete series. This is the formula. This is the formula of discrete series with standard deviation, and the fixer is values into the formula. After that, we find out the standard deviation in assumed mean method, that is 8.76. So, on the other hand, we find out the discrete series. This is a unique series. Let's start with a new series, that is the discrete series with the new formula, discrete series. As we know that discrete series, we put with the frequency. In the discrete series, we use the frequency. Under this method, deviation of the item taken from the actual mean, that is, let's find with the x minus mean. On the other hand, denoted with deviation from the small x. As we know that x minus mean denoted with the small x. As we know that. So, after this, on the other hand, put the item on the series. Under the new formula in discrete series, that is calculate standard deviation of following items. Basically, x is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. This is the x series, same as it. On the other hand, frequency, that is 7, 8, 10, 12, 4, 3, 2. 4, 3, 2. So, this is the x series and this is the frequency. As we know that in the discrete series, we use the frequency. So, first of all, the formula of the discrete series, that is standard deviation is equal to summation f d square minus summation f d divided by n square under. So, deviation divided, find out the x minus this. So, let's start with the example. So, first of all, We assume the value in the X series. That is, first of all, we assume the value. We assume the C as a assumed value. On the other hand, find out the deviation. X minus A. As we know that assumed value is 6. So find out the deviation with the X series. 3 minus 6 minus 2. On the other hand, 4 minus 6 minus 2 minus 1 0 1 and 2. So this is the deviation. On the other hand, we find out the frequency with multiply with the deviation value. Frequency multiply with the deviation. So basically minus 21. Camel multiply minus 8. Minus 21. 8 multiply minus 2 is minus 3. 10 multiply minus 1. Minus 10. 0. 4. 6. Also 2. And the total of the value is minus 31. So on the other hand, we find out the FD square value. FD square value find out with the help of FD multiply D. So first of all, FD multiply with D value. So minus 21 multiply minus 3 minus 3. On the other hand, minus 16 multiply minus 2 32. So after this 10 0 4 12 and 18, and the total of the value is FD square is equal to 139. This is the FD. So basically put this value into this formula. So now put this value into this formula. Sigma is equal to FD square is 139. So now n is the number of observations. So means total number of observation in the frequency, that is 40. This is 40 minus summation FD. Summation FD is 31 minus 31, and then n is the 46. So after the division of this value, sigma 3.0217 minus 31 divided with 46, 0.45. So after the divided minus of this value, we find out a new value is 2.5676. After the under root of this item, we find out a new value, that is 1.6072. 1.60. This is the answer. This is the answer of the 1.02. The answer of standard deviation in the discrete series. So basically, this is a discrete series We already discussed the individual series in the previous example. I hope this series also clear to you.